Hello, welcome to another episode of Storytime with Blessing. I am Blessing. Welcome to my channel. I want you to know that I feel the love that you show me, for all the subscriptions, for all the feedback and the comments. I appreciate you and I'm very grateful. Welcome to another episode of Storytime. Today is a beautiful Sunday afternoon as I record this. The neighbors outside are playing some beautiful gospel songs. I think I just had a song by Casey J playing, one of the songs that I love, absolutely love. It's called Adopted, and it just teaches about the Father's love for his children. That we're no longer strangers, but we are his children who've been adopted into his family. Anyhow, today I just wanted to do a quick update. I've been reading this book that I borrowed from a friend of mine, and the book is called The Social Animal by David Brooks. It's a New York Times bestseller, and one of the catchphrases is the hidden sources of love, character, and achievement. I'm currently reading a chapter that is titled Love's Role, and something caught my eye. Revolutions in our understanding of ourselves begin in the oddest ways. One of the breakthroughs that helped us understand the interplay between emotion and decision-making began with a man named Eliot, whose story has become one of the most famous in the world of brain research. Eliot had suffered damage to the frontal lobes of his brain as a result of a tumor. Eliot was intelligent, well-informed, and diplomatic. He possessed an attractively wry view of the world, but after surgery, Eliot began to have trouble managing his day. Whenever he tried to accomplish something, he would ignore the most important parts of the task and get sidetracked by trivial distractions. At work, he would set out to file some reports, but then would just sit down and start reading them. He would spend an entire day trying to decide on a filing system. He would spend hours deciding where to have lunch and still couldn't settle on a place. He made foolish investments that cost him his life savings. He divorced his wife, married a woman his family disapproved of, and quickly divorced again. In short, he was incapable of making sensible choices. If I'm to take something away from this excerpt, it would be that sometimes we go through issues and challenges on a daily basis, but in trying to find quick solutions or long-lasting solutions to these challenges, we miss out on the most important parts of living. So I just decided to share with you my current read, and I just particularly love this particular chapter. I want to know what you're reading at the moment. I've always considered myself a reader, one interested in books, and some of my all-time favorite authors have been about four people: Sidney Sheldon, Danielle Steele, Jeffrey Deaver, and I don't know who the author of The Wuthering Heights was, but that's one book I loved. I read that about 15 years ago, and if I could actually get it, I would still reread it. Anyway, on to today's topic. In my introductory video to Storytime, I remember sharing about my exodus from journalism to media production, to being behind the scenes. And at the time when I had to make that decision, I remember calling my mom to tell her of the opportunity that I had been presented with, but it also meant that I had to leave a bit of my life, a life I'd been accustomed to, behind. A life of being in front of the camera, a life of opportunities in their own right. I had to leave all that behind to cross over into something that I was slightly uncertain, but I was ready for new challenges. And my mom, as loving as ever, giving her counsel and advice, which I used not to take when I was much younger. To this day, I still wonder why, because mother knows best, and sometimes it's true. In this, she expressed her concern over my crossover from something I was very assured of, a monthly salary at the end of the month, to a company she didn't think would last longer or survive the industry when the waves or the tide was strong. And I just remember telling her, because I had I think 2 days to make the decision on whether I would leave the field of journalism and join the production company. I didn't have much time to make decisions, but at the same time, I wanted to involve someone I thought was instrumental, had been instrumental in my journey, and that was my mom and my dad. But I had limited time to make a decision. And decision making is so important because sometimes it's the line, it's the thin line between you staying where you are and making the shift, or letting the shift in your life introduce you to newer opportunities. If you're slow at decision making, it might affect you. If you're fast at decision making without thinking, it still might affect you. But either way, sometimes a decision has to be made. And I listened to my mom, took the advice she had for me to heart, considered it, but I also had to weigh my options. Whereas I had lived a life that was fulfilled in my previous life as a journalist, I knew that I still had room for improvement, for growth, for learning, for networking, for newer opportunities. I believe in improving my skill set everywhere I go. Every chance that I am presented with, I want to grow my skill. I want to grow my skill set. I want to know more. I keep hungering for more. Because like I said in my video, in my very introductory video, I still have this bubble hovering over me in the night. I want to wake up and pop it and I see my dreams come true. That is what I want to do. And honestly, if you think about it, sometimes the opportunities are there, but we take long to make decisions. And this excerpt from this book that I shared earlier at the beginning of the video, for me, I chose to see it in a different light, and I chose to dwell so much on decision making. I told my mom I believed in the team, where I was going. I believed in everything they stood for. I believed in their potential, and I remember telling my mom, convincing her that this company would soon be a leading media production house in Uganda and beyond. And I swear, I was not wrong. Because the team is dedicated, but personally, a personal responsibility is to keep growing, keep learning, venture more, explore more, try and error, but learn as long as you know what exactly that you're doing. So, I wasn't wrong. I made the decision, and in 2 days I had my answer. And I remember telling my current employer that I was ready for the job, for the task ahead of me. Please note, I had an idea of production having been a journalist, but I was never as skilled as the people that I found at the workplace. So I had to quickly learn a few things. The industry requires you to know much more than just being in charge of a department. And to this day, I still don't regret my decision. I'm glad I was able to make the decision as swift as I did. And today I want to challenge you to think about all the opportunities you've had and the decisions you've had to make, but because you've been too slow or too fast, you end up making a decision in error. So think about decision making. It's a very important aspect of living. It could make you and it could break you. But the standard thing is a decision has to be made at one point. With that challenge for you to ponder, to think much more, because it's ever a learning process. We never stop learning. I would like to hear from you about the toughest decisions you've had to make, the shifts you've had to make in your employment journeys, or at home, in life, day-to-day life. How hard, what your toughest decision has been to this day. How you're able to quickly, slowly make that decision, which is still made in the end. Let me know in the comment section, or better still, if you want it private, you can send me a DM. My Instagram is linked below, or on Facebook, also linked below, and on Twitter you can DM me, also linked below. And also you can send me an email at blessingbyamsha@gmail.com. Let us learn from each other and let's keep supporting each other. Thank you so much for watching Storytime. I love you all, I feel the feedback, and God bless you. Bye bye.